Welcome to the Str8 Show, your one-stop destination for intriguing conversations with extraordinary individuals who are boldly navigating life outside the conventional norms. Our host, Scott Fullerton, is thrilled to embark on this journey of discovery with all of you. The Str8 Show, we believe that every person's story is unique, and it's our mission to showcase the diversity of human experiences. We bring you the untold stories of fascinating people who identify as LGBT+ and allies, pushing boundaries, breaking stereotypes, and making a positive impact in our communities. On this show, we bring you a diverse lineup of inspiring guests, from activists to artists, and entrepreneurs to entertainers, and everything in between. We dive deep into their personal journeys, discovering the pivotal moment that has shaped their lives and careers. You can expect thought-provoking discussions on a wide range of topics, from LGBTQ rights, social justice to arts, culture, mental health, and more. Our guests are change makers who share their insights, challenges, and triumphs, igniting conversation that promotes empathy, understanding, and love. So whether you're part of the LGBTQ community or an ally looking to expand your knowledge and show your support, the Str8 Show is for you. Together, we can build bridges of understanding and acceptance, celebrating the beauty of what makes us all unique. So sit back, grab a drink, and get ready for the show.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to the Str8 Show interviews. I'm your host, as always, Scott Fullerton, and it's the holidays. And one of the things I am so blessed with is the opportunity to talk with celebrities and personalities from the areas of entertainment, foodies, books, music, and advocacy with friends from our LGBTQ community and, of course, our amazing straight allies. Today, I have two special guests joining me in studio. Kevin McHale is back for his second time on the show, and I'm excited to welcome Austin P. McKenzie for the very first time. Separately, they are amazing performers on stage, screen, and in music, but together they are a powerhouse couple, encouraging each other in their art and creating beautiful memories together outside of work as well. Take a look at their music collaboration. We'll be back on the other side.
Black skies are hanging overhead. I can see your world hanging by a thread. Don't worry, don't worry. Sending my love through the ether. The mountains crumble at every touch. The oceans pour for flesh and blood. They call you, they call you. Sending my love through the ether. So I say a prayer, say a hymn for you. If I could just be where you are, then I could just be what you take you away from every dark and difficult day. If I could just be with you. Though I know it'll only go so far, my words won't shield you from the harm. I'm trying, sending my love through the ether. The world has treated you criminal. My love for you is unconditional. I'm always on your side, sending my love through the ether. If I could just.
We are back, guys. That was part of Sending My Love Through the Ether, of course, sung and performed by my very special guest today, Austin McKenzie is here, along with his boyfriend, Kevin McHale. Guys, I can't wait to talk more about music with you and welcome you to the show. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having us. Good to see you again.
Yeah, doing good.
Good to see you. Nice to meet Austin. Happy holidays to you. All sorts of festive things going on, I'm sure. So thanks for taking the time.
Oh, no, thank you so much. We're happy to do this. We don't often get asked to do things together, so this is fun.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad I get to do it. Of course, for the listeners out there, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Kevin played Artie Abrams on one of my favorite shows, Glee, along with his own music and dancing and all of his performances. Austin wowed audiences on both coasts with his performance as Melchior in Deaf West Theater's Spring Awakening. We'll be talking about that later, as well as being front and center again as the younger Cleve Jones in When We Rise. They both made some impressive music, so together I want to get right into it. First, we got to talk about here for a second. I mean, we're in a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon world, right? So we know that everyone knows each other. You guys are like a match made in heaven. I mean, I can't believe some of the stuff. When you look at your stuff that you combined, I mean, you're both from Southern states. You both played high schoolers, kind of reinventing a club in high school a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We had Ali from Spring Awakening was in Glee with the Glee Project, and Darren Chris was in the movie you were in. I mean, you guys were circling each other for decades, it seems. Talk about this.
Yeah, it was pretty incestuous. It was also, the biggest thing to me was like, I can't break away from Spring Awakening. Like, I was in a show with Leah and Groff and Jenna, and it was just like, okay, so Spring Awakening is a thing. And yeah, when we met and we worked together, I was like, he was also in Spring Awakening. It's like, how can I not get away from this show? Not that I need to, it's a great show, but it was just following me wherever I went.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same for me, where I felt like when I started doing Spring Awakening, the world of Glee just kind of surrounded me. I kept meeting people who were in Glee. I worked with someone who was in Glee, 2 people who were in Glee. It was just a matter of time, and it's random how we met. It wasn't through mutuals or anything like that. We both just happened to be working on the same show, and then had a little showmance. Kevin actually had the chance to see Spring Awakening 2 times or 3 times?
2 times when it was in LA, and I ended up not being able to go because Glee, as per usual, was running late that day, so I couldn't get out of work. But I mean, you met Leah, you met a bunch of people from
so many people.
Yeah,
and then I worked with Darren and Ali.
Yeah.
So I guess when we started dating, we kind of already knew each other's circles a little bit, which was, I guess, convenient.
Right, I guess. And you guys met on When We Rise, right? So talk about that. Was it kind of sparks at first sight? Did we have a couple lunch dates at the commissary table? How'd this come about?
It was a smooth introduction. We immediately hit it off.
Yeah.
We had a great connection. And the rest is history. What can I say?
It couldn't have been it couldn't have been more different than that. I remember going into it because Austin was the lead of the show, and I was only coming in for an episode, and all my scenes were with him, and I didn't know him, but I knew that we had a bunch of mutual friends. So then I was asking around about him, like, is he cool? Is it going to be great to work with?
What did people say?
And everyone was like, he's cold. And I was like I pride myself on being able to get along with anyone. And so I went into it with the challenge of, I'm going to make him like me, but like as a friend. Right. And then when we first met, I went to set to meet the hair and makeup department. And he came in during that meeting, and he was in the middle of shooting and sat down in the hair seat. And the makeup artist was going over to introduce me. Austin had his headphones in.
Keep in mind, I also have like a perm, like big perm wig on that they're changing out into my natural hair, so permed.
And Austin wouldn't even look at me, didn't turn to say hi. And then the hair person clearly knew Austin's personality by then and pulled out his headphone, turned the chair and said, say hi.
And let me just clarify. It's not that I was like, oh, I'm the lead of this show. I don't talk to the peasants. It wasn't that. I think I was in a really bad mood that day. And so that's why I was cold to you.
But you were also like, he was doing heavy. That show was very heavy.
Yeah.
They were doing a lot of heavy things. Like, I had that meeting in the first place to talk about the scars and the rashes I'd be getting put on me. And so,
because the show was about the AIDS epidemic.
Yes. And so I knew that he was probably in the headspace. It was very serious, but I just took it as another sign of like, I'm going to make him be friends with me. And then slowly but surely we did.
Yeah. To be honest, I sort of had a similar reaction after I was forced to say hello to him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get this one. And I didn't expect it to be anything at all. And then what was it, a year later?
No, it was like 6 months later.
No, not 6 months. When we said I love you, that was not 6 months.
It was 7 or 8 months.
Anyway, it was like 7 or 8 months.
We became friends first.
Yeah.
And then the romance happened.
Yeah.
The romance blossomed. I love that. But you guys, I remember reading you guys didn't even move in together till like a year ago or so. I mean, you're with each other all the time. Are you ready to build that he shed now that you've been together for a year? I mean, how is this working out for you? I'm glad to see we're together. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
After 7 years, is that right?
No, after 6.
Okay.
Don't ask Austin about time. He doesn't know. It's almost been a year. We've been together 7 years. He moved in January of last year. And it was one of those things where I had been in a relationship previous to this that was also 7 years long, and we never lived together. And it just worked really well. People have their own space, and and so after the first year we were together, he's like, so do you think we should move in together? I was like, no, I don't.
I just thought that this is my first relationship, so I thought that was the natural progression of things. Like a year, okay, cool, we can live together, right? Thank God we didn't do that, because I very much value my personal space and alone time. And for the the remaining years until we moved in together, I was like, yes, I need this separation. But no, we moved in, and it's been. Kevin worded it the best. I always tell people. He said, it's like living alone but better, where it's like we're just coexisting completely, and there's no getting in each other's spaces. It's easy.
I need that.
I think because we had that time where we knew that we both valued for our own sanity, regardless if we were in a relationship or not, of having that independence and that having your own spaces, even within the house, that we made sure we sort of carved those outward. Like he has his creative space where he can go do music and that have that outlet unbothered by me. And like me, and for me, I have like my own space too. So it is nice that we can sort of just be together or be apart, whatever we want.
My room has a do not disturb sign on it. I lock the door when I go in there.
Yeah, he locks the door.
He's like, why are you locking the door? And I'm like, I don't like being vulnerable. I don't like that someone can attack me with my headphones on.
Right, that part's weird. The rest I go with. That part's a little on the weird.
I tried to like go in there to like ask like, what are we doing for dinner or something, and it's locked. I'm like, and he has his phone on do not disturb, so there's once he goes in there, he's gone.
Yeah.
Time to text. I gotcha. That's good to learn that early on, though. I mean, I am a bear of a certain age, unfortunately, and I'm at the place where I value my time a lot. So it's like, I'll go on a date, I'll go out on something, but it's like, all right, you come over for about 2 hours. We'll have 2 hours of fun time, then you got to go home because I need to get to bed. So
once you realize how valuable that is, and for so many different reasons, it's hard to part with that, and if something is worth that, because I think also the older you get, I found for myself, you get into your routine, you know what you like, and you want to maintain that to a certain extent, and so it is nice to be able to make sure that we support each other in that way because we know each other so well, obviously. And then also because we're here, I think we do then push each other to also break out of our little comfort zones every now and then.
Yeah. It also goes back to communication. I feel like always we have such a strong level of communication where like we say everything to each other, everything, even if it's bitchy or whatever, we just say it. And I have learned how to like not take things to heart and to just really like be open to all forms of communication, saying everything that's on your mind. I think that's so valuable.
I think that's very valuable. And again, talk about communication. When you're apart like that, it gives you something to talk about. I mean, you guys are in professions where you'll have a lot of downtime at a time and then together. If you're with each other 24/7, what are you going to talk about, right? There's only so much you can fit into a day. So if you do your own kind of space things, it gives you a lot more kind of things that keeps you interested in the other. So I love that. I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. All right, well, let's kind of break it down separately a little bit. Kevin, I think the last time we kind of went everywhere from NLT to Showmance and everything in between. Let's do a little catch up for you. I mean, is it bad that I have Alpha Beats in my Christmas playlist? I feel a little guilty, but I love those songs.
Oh, that's so sweet. No, I love that. That's great. I'm proud of those songs.
You should be. That was fun. I mean, it wasn't a show I'd watch, but the music was amazing. And I thought it was
that's
great.
our intention. Yeah, we're still working on it. And so our intention with that is it's a children's project, obviously, and it would be a children's TV show, but the music good enough where it doesn't make the parents want to like cut their ears off, you know? So even though it can be liked by kids and adults, we just wanted to make it so it's not something repetitive and dumbed down, because kids have good taste and kids can appreciate a good song and some good harmonies.
Definitely. Like I said, I am a Christmas gay. I'm not a Halloween gay. I'm a Christmas gay. So I love all the Christmas stuff. I have playlists and music going on all the time. So I put that in rotation every year. The last
Thank you.
years.
I appreciate that.
I love it. You guys did a great job with that. And we'll talk a little more. I mean, I want to talk. We played Austin's video. You directed that. Was that your first time directing, or have you directed before?
It was my first time directing by myself. One of my most frequent like creative collaborators, Justin, he and I have directed before that several music videos together for Austin and for David Archuleta. We had done some, and he directs a lot more than I do, so he would always try to bring me in to sort of, show me the ropes. And so he was unavailable for the Ether video, and we were just like, well, we sort of have to do it this day on the calendar. And I just had to buck up and figure it out. But we were just talking about it the other day. It's one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song Austin has ever made. And I must say, I do love the video. I think I grew up, music videos were always my thing. I was obsessed with music videos. I watched them for fun all the time. I really appreciate a good video. And I hate when a song is better than the music video and the video doesn't complement the song. And so I do feel like we sort of nailed it in the way where you hear the song and I get the same feeling from watching the video as I do from the song.
Which is really cool, because I don't think either of us are very good at talking ourselves up. And I think that both of us can agree how we feel about the video and the song.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty seamless. I feel like that was a seamless, like, I mean, obviously we had like little bumps here and there of, issues on the day or whatever, but I feel like it was really easy to make that video with you.
It was pretty easy. Yeah. I mean, and we also did it illegally, but
Yeah.
as we usually do.
At beach show, everybody does stuff. So as long as you don't run into someone, you're not going to get in trouble. I've had a lot of friends do things there. So who needs a permit? We'll just get there and we'll go through, be the third production person in line to do it. But
as someone
gorgeous shots.
I hate breaking the rules. Since I was a kid, I have a really big problem with it. And so I was very nervous about it, but very thankful nobody showed up.
Well, it was cold and kind of rainy that day, so no one wanted to go to the beach. So we got very lucky.
Yeah.
Well, it was absolutely amazing. Like I said, I thought you guys both did a fantastic job, both in front and behind the camera. I know you've worked with Justin Thorne a lot in the past, so I saw that he edited for you, so that had to give you some comfortability, knowing that he was going to be able to take whatever you did and really make it look good. Mm-hmm. Now, I saw it's another Thorne that choreographed it. The choreography was amazing. Was that his sister, girlfriend, wife, whatever? I mean, that was amazing choreography too.
Yeah, his sister is an incredible dancer, trained all over the world in Italy, and she's so good. And we sort of have our little, I think, family, creative family,
collective.
Yeah, that she's choreographed everything we've done together, whether it was my music videos or Austin's other music videos, or even when we've done things with David, we always call on Jesse to just be like, we need you, please help. Yes. And luckily she got to be there, and she's brilliant. Like, Justin's very, very smart and talented, and his sister is just as smart and talented. And so having them as a resource, and like you said, very good observation of knowing that he would get the edit of whatever we did. Like, he'll make this mess look okay.
Yeah.
It's like between Jesse choreographing, just in editing. And then we have this guy, Brian Smaller, who colors all the videos.
Oh, nice.
He's really he's the biggest expense because we try to do these things on a very low budget.
Yeah.
But we pay Brian full price because it makes a world of difference. He can take something and make it just look. I mean, especially with this video, the total look of it, the old school sort of grain and it's unreal. It's my favorite thing. Honestly, I just want to direct music videos so I can like go watch him color videos for an hour. That's all it's my favorite part of the process.
I love that. That's fantastic. We got to talk about Chick-Lif-A. I mean, how crazy was that? I didn't know Jenna was just finding out she was pregnant at the beginning of it till I talked to her a couple months ago. That's an experience in of itself. Talk about that. Did you have fun with it? I heard Austin was kind of your big support on that, right?
I was his drag mother.
Yeah.
With
nice.
the queen.
Yeah.
Drag partner.
My stage mom.
Stage mom. There you go.
Yeah, when I initially got asked to do it, I turned to him and I was like, "What?" He's like, "If you don't do this, I'm going to break up with you." And I was like, I don't love doing like the quote unquote celebrity shows. And I've done a couple of them now, and it always feels sort of weird and gross for me to like, but I do them when selfishly I'm like, well, this just sounds really fun. And so, yeah, I eventually got to do it, and it was the best experience. I ran into Eureka the other day, and she was just like, did you enjoy doing it? It looked like you were having fun. Like, I had the time of my life. I was very nervous because you go into that thing. I respect drag so much.
Right.
And these people, these drag queens who are doing it all over the world, all over America, in some small bar, and they're doing their own hair and makeup and wardrobe and creative, and they're funny or they're beauty. It's like they have to be good at so many things. And we were showing up and sort of just like sitting there. And and it got done to us where I was so concerned about being respectful to the art. And like, I know we're getting to step in, and I know this is a very unrealistic representation of what this is because we're working with the best of the best and we're not having to really do anything ourselves. But that being said, time of my life. I mean, there were long days. Yeah, Jenna was early stages of being pregnant and was nauseous, and like the stomach was growing every day, which was.
She was excited to get sent home. She said she said she wasn't mad about that at all.
No, she knew. I was like, "Don't sabotage yourself, Jenna," and I was so worried she's going to sabotage herself. But when she had to lip sync for her life, and I said to everybody, "Like, if she goes into the splits, she's not trying to go home," and she did the splits. I'm like, "Okay, she's actually fighting to stay." So, it was so nice to be able to do it with her, and all the drag queens that came into that show, I mean, Brooklyn and Monet and Jujubee were all like a gift from God. Like, I felt so thankful. They were all so nice, so funny. They worked their asses off. They were in drag for so long every day. It was insane.
I put on just a little bit of makeup because I'm a pasty white boy in Ohio, and I don't know how they put all that stuff on for hours at a time. I take 30 seconds just so I can hide a couple zits or two, but it's
I don't know. I mean, I think everybody should do drag at least once, like full drag, because I think it completely unlocked something in me. How I feel about myself, even physically, how I like move in the world completely changed, and I can never go back from seeing that and feeling that, and it just feels so liberating. That being said, I had zero desire to do drag before. Zero. I was of the mind of like, I really enjoy watching it, but like, I don't need to see what this face is going to look like in drag. I'm just going to look like my and I did look like my sister, but it was liberating. I think everybody should do it.
It looked like an amazing time. I kind of caught on to you early on. I honestly didn't know Jenna the entire time. I had no clue it was Jenna the entire time. I should have put 2 and 2 together, but I didn't. But I thought you did amazing. Talk about, I mean, your performances were out there. Which was harder, learning Michael Jackson choreography with Harry or learning drag choreography?
That's tough. Honestly, they were sort of even because the stuff with Harry, I hadn't danced in so long, not in a wheelchair, and you're dancing next to like one of the best dancers I've ever encountered, and then doing an artist that I was trying to, I don't know, do justice. And so that was nerve-wracking, and you know that millions of people are going to see it, which is also crazy. Like when you're doing that and you're showing up to work every day, I'm like, I know the amount of people that are going to see this. It's a little daunting. Drag Race, it was mostly... So there was a time, it might have been the second episode, where Jenna and I were backstage. And I was like, are you nervous? She's like, no. Are you? It's like, no. And I have terrible nerves, but because we didn't actually have to sing,
right?
We're like, oh, we enjoy performing, and we get to go do this fun choreography where I'm just being like a hoe the whole time. So it wasn't, I think that was like the freedom and the liberation of doing drag was, even if you mess up, play it off. Like you can still just, because it's about the joy of it. However, the heels, I might say drag was harder because the heels of it all, I never really figured it out, and they ended up putting me in these really ugly blocking shoes because I was dancing so much and more than some of the other people that were on the show. And I broke a couple heels like right before I was supposed to go out. And so yeah, that was stressful. But honestly, I don't know, the dancing was fun. I enjoyed it, and once I got the heel situation under control a bit, then I could sort of let go. But
some of your best performances are on that show.
Yeah, I'm proud of like my Bitch Better Have My Money performance. I was like, this is the thing I've
so good.
My entire life.
So good.
Gold.
You kicked ass on that. The judges were loving it. As a drag mama there, Austin, what was your proudest moment and the most cringeworthy moment watching this all go through?
Proudest moment. I mean, honestly, the first time they said Chick-Lif-A, that was
He named me.
I did.
So
that was more proud of myself than him. No, Bitch Better Have My Money, and then what was with the candy?
The first one?
The first
Goodies?
One. That one's also very good. So many good numbers. Cringiest? I mean, I thought it was bullshit he went home. I thought he should have stayed. I thought he should have won. Objectively, I thought he was better than some of them. I thought he was a shoo-in. So, but I wasn't surprised at the decision. But it was bullshit.
Well, I'm with you. It was rigged. Damn it. All right, we'll finish up, Kevin. Let's talk a little bit about doing the podcast. I was so excited. I know you guys stopped. I mean, we talked during Showmance before. You guys were doing that. I still think it's funny. I was listening to our show when I was doing research for Jenna, and you guys were talking about weddings and everything back then on the show. You had your wedding thing, and you possibly being made about it. Then you had to pop in as man of honor at the end. So you were foreshadowing a lot back there. But
that's true. I didn't know.
I totally understand that it was very difficult after you kind of transitioned over to a Glee thing, more of a recap, and then with Naya. But it's so exciting to see you back. Has it been cathartic? Has it been as much fun as it looks? It looks like you guys are just having a great time.
Yeah, it's been both of those things. Super cathartic, and it's been a lot of fun. We obviously, as you know, we're very hesitant to do it again. And it just sort of, I don't know, I think we had enough time away and a shift in perspective, and talking to Ryan about it and him being so willing to come on and sort of bear all was really such a gift. And I think that's what we wanted from it. You know, you can set as many intentions as you want. You never know if it's actually going to happen. And I think luckily it was started with the top down. So if like the creator of Glee is being this open and honest about it, then it gave us permission to be open and honest. And then everybody after him to be that open and honest. And yeah, it feels like now that it's just such a gift. I think talking to a lot of the cast and especially some of the crew members, because the crew members don't often get to speak publicly about their experiences, and they're there before us and after us. And there was very little turnover on the show. And so being able to hear their perspective of the experience, because they're also not out in the world. They weren't going on tour. They're not doing the press stuff. So their perspective is entirely different. And
like one of my favorite episodes was with Adam, I believe, the song guy, and he was saying he couldn't even get a freaking jacket at the end. So yeah, it's very much unseen talent there. But that is my favorite part of the show. Is the recaps are fun and your memories, but the guests you've had on, I think, is the best part for me, because you've really been able to talk open, honest, and have a little fun with it. So that's I think, as a listener, and I hate to be a old guy Glee fan. I'm probably your oldest listener, but it's really fun to see you guys enjoy it and be able to kind of feel those emotions in a safe space a little more. So that's nice.
I mean, my whole thing about the show is I have really positive memories, and I hold it in a really positive esteem in my own head. Like it was a great experience, and I think because of the things that have happened afterwards, understandably, that has shifted how people feel about the show in hindsight. And I think it was just really important for me and then for Jenna to remember, like, we had some of the best times of our life on this show. And other people watching it felt the same way. And to be able to talk about that or remind people that even worked on the show that that's how we felt at the time has just been so rewarding. And I know some of the crew members have texted us afterwards being like, I was so scared to talk about it because I have so many mixed feelings about it. But now I feel so happy, and I forgot about all those joyous moments. And so it has been very, very cathartic, I think, for everyone.
I love that. Well, I was drawn to the show. I mean, like I said, I'm probably one of your oldest fans, but I like to say banished to Northeast Ohio. I'm from LA area. So I was banished to Northeast Ohio in 2005, I think it was. So now I'm living in all these areas. I go to Akron, I go through Lime, I go all through this place in Ohio, and I was in show choir in West Covina. I remember doing regionals at Whittier College. So yeah, so the show was very emotional to me that way. It was kind of fun to think about it. So yeah, I do love it, and I appreciate everything you guys do to keep the memory alive in the positive sense. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Austin, let's kind of jump over to you. We're going to get into your new music in a bit. Let's talk about Spring Awakening. I think from what I found in my research, you were really planning on this whole actor and singing gig. This was one of your first things, brought you to LA, slept in your car. Talk about that entire experience in Spring Awakening, because amazing show. Amazing.
Thanks. I mean, it feels like it was a lifetime ago. It's crazy to think how long ago that was. But yeah, I was going to school to become a sign language interpreter and a special education teacher. And then through this research project I had to do for my deaf culture class, stumbled upon this YouTube video casting call for Deaf West Spring Awakening in Los Angeles. And sort of as a fun little experiment, I decided to send in an audition tape. And yeah, then that summer they called me and asked me to come to LA and do the show. And I said no originally, because I was working at this summer camp that I was very passionate about. And my friends sat me down and said, you have to do this. You have no idea where this is going to lead. This is obviously some crazy life opportunity that's being handed to you for whatever reason. And just decided to do it based off that. And then, a year and a half later, I was on Broadway making my debut.
So you won a little award for that Broadway debut, by the way. Hint, hint.
What was that?
I said, and you won a little debut award for that as well. So
yeah, cool. I mean, it was a whirlwind, and it was, I lived in my car for the first few months when I lived out here, which actually I've learned is not that crazy of a story. I feel like a lot of people who move out here either couch surf or live in their car. But yeah, it's just, I never would have thought I'd be in LA. Never thought I would do Broadway. Never thought I would pursue acting or music really. And, it's just crazy how things happen. It's crazy how things happen. If I hadn't worked at that camp and learned sign language, I wouldn't have gotten this job. I wouldn't have met Kevin. I wouldn't have discovered my passion for music. wouldn't have found my home of LA. So it was just crazy. It was crazy. But I loved every second of the job, working, rehearsing, doing the show on stage. Just the best feeling. The live theater is just the best feeling, honestly.
I'm 6 hours from New York, where I'm at. I'm right on the PA Ohio border, so it's only about a 6.5 hour drive to New York. I didn't get to make it up for Spring Awakening. I'm also a huge superhero fan and theater. My two big geeks are Broadway and superheroes. So when Andy Mientus was in it, because I love him from theater, and he was on Flash, of course. So it's like the cast was amazing. I wanted to sneak up there for it and couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
you guys had some amazing reviews. I had two friends that went and saw it and said you guys were out of this world.
Well, I tracked down a fan of the show who has a bootleg and downloaded it from them. So if you need an illegal bootleg, I got you.
You and I are going to chat after the show. I love that. Thank you. Very nice. All right, well, let's go into speech and debate. I mean, we talk about something in common here. Kevin was in this geeky club from high school. Now you guys, three of you, kind of being different areas. You're trying to start a GSA, and we're having all this trouble with the faculty. Let everyone know what speech and debate was about, and how was that to work on as a project?
It was fun. It was really scary. It was my first film. And I remember even on day one, when they put your marks down on the ground for you to, stand here when you say this line and stand here when you say this line. So that way the camera is doing the right thing. I didn't even know what that was. I had to fully just guess. They say, this is your mark. And I'm like, oh, okay. Whatever that means. I assume I'll have to stand here. I learned a lot on that. Yeah, it was interesting. I look back now and I really wish I would have just done everything differently. But I suppose you should think that way. I suppose you should always think you can improve.
Learning experiences, that's all they are. I mean, we all have our first times and things, so it's great to be able to learn from it. And when you look back, you don't realize what you learned at the time until you look back on it. And then all of a sudden, okay, yeah, I get that now. So
yeah, I was so green. I didn't know what my process was for acting or preparation. Like, it was just so green. But it was fun. I got really close with the cast, and it was just like a good, cute time. It kind of felt like summer camp. In Jackson, Mississippi.
I love that. And I want to go into When We Rise. I mean, I loved the miniseries. We just had World AIDS Day a couple weeks ago when we're filming this, and I've always done some different tributes and gone to a lot of dinners and everything for that. So all LGBT causes are so important, but this was just such a well-known story to the older gay community. It was great to see it for a new generation. What did you kind of learn while you're on set, and what kind of experience was that? I mean, you were with some amazing people there.
Yeah, I mean, if I thought speech and debate was scary and I felt green there, that was nothing compared to When We Rise, because I was just When We Rise was a whole different level. And yeah, I mean, it was so interesting because I was going through a lot personally at the time, and I was also learning how to, be a lead in this, big TV show, this big miniseries. But I think on top of all of that, learning about LGBT queer community history, I think really guided me through that entire process. Cleve Jones, the character that I got to play, legendary activist. He was there the whole time, and he was there coaching me. He was there telling me the bits of history in between the scenes, of context for different scenes, and he was a bit of like a father figure while I was on the show, and really helped guide me through all of that. And I think that's the big thing I really take away from that, is my relationship with Cleve. We were just up north visiting him. Was it like 2 months ago?
Yeah, a couple months ago.
Yeah, I got that right. And yeah, I mean, just to, I don't know if I can say this, you can cut it out, but like to be smoking pot with like this like legendary activist, I mean, that's just the coolest thing. And to feel like I have this connection now to such a rich, important, vital history that everyone should know about, especially queer people. I just feel so lucky. I feel so lucky that I know a lot of people who don't know the history, and I have this like easy connect to it. I feel so lucky to have that. It really makes me value my queerness now.
That's awesome. I'm just distributed through iHeart. I'm not sponsored by them, so we can cuss, we can say whatever we want. We're good to go. Don't worry about it. If we go too much, we'll bleep it out because I do have to distribute to them eventually. The rules I've learned in 8 years of doing this is as long as you don't swear in the first 5 minutes, you can be on YouTube, no problem, and swear. And if you bleep out more than 5 or 6 swear words for iHeart, you can say in iHeart. So,
amazing. Good to know.
You learn the little clues of the world. Well, let's talk about your music, Us. I mean, you're working on your 4th album now. We saw with Melancholy, Nightshade, Somewhere in Space. How did the whole music come about? I mean, you guys both have different sounds, but you guys are both amazing in your music work.
Well, I mean, I had always sort of played around with writing music, when I was a kid, and had this, everyone had the dream of being the big mega superstar, when they grow up, and I had done Spring Awakening, I'd done theater, I'd done TV, I'd done film, and after all that was done, and I was back here developing this relationship with Kevin and sort of sitting tight and paying my dues for a little bit, I really reflected on, okay, do I want to be acting? Do I want to be doing theater? Like, what is it that I actually want to do? Because these jobs had sort of just happened and fallen on me. The conclusion I reached was, yes, that's still a passion of mine. That's something I want to pursue. But I really wanted to tap into something that felt a little more liberating, which was creating. And it was honestly through Kevin. He gave me the confidence to share my stuff with him, whether it was bad or good. And once I was able to open that door and start to share my music with someone, it just gave me the confidence to say, if I actually want to do this, I have to just do it. And so I remember sitting down with him one day and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to make an album. I have the concept, I have the idea, I'm just going to do it. And I look back and I really hate that album. But that's really how it started for me, was just using the confidence he gave me to propel me into creating. And it turns out that is my greatest passion. And I'm obsessed with writing music and making music. I wish I could do it every single day, all day. Leading into the album I just wrote, which is all about him. Yeah, big mistake, huge. Mm-hmm. I just don't see myself ever stopping, really.
We're going to talk about that on the other side, because I remember Kevin talking about him writing his songs for you, and his EP was all about you. And then I hear you talking about, this is all about Kevin. I can't find a guy I want to give 345s and a mixtape to, and you guys are doing entire albums to each other. So I'm a little jealous.
Well, I just got an EP. I'm giving him a whole album.
Yeah, but it took you how many years? And I put that EP out 4 years ago.
Yeah, and one of the songs on that EP is about his last boyfriend.
And one of the songs in your album is about my last boyfriend.
Exactly.
This is going to be interesting. I can't wait to go into this. Well, Kevin, let's switch the drag mama hat on the other side. As a singing mama, what's been your proudest things to see Austin kind of come alive in his music, and what has been his cringe moments you've been helping him through?
I think initially...
Be so honest. I need to know.
No, initially when he brought up the whole music thing, and he worked with Justin Thorne, because they did a song for the Speech and Debate soundtrack. And it was sort of like, you're good. You're really good. And you have not just a singing voice, but like a voice in terms of writing and a style. And he was like, this is what I want to do. I want to make music. I'm like, you just have to start it. And I think incrementally, change is progress is slow. And I think there was some point, maybe it was 2 years later, he was like, I'm not where I want to be. It's like this.
The music isn't what I want it to be.
Yeah. And it was like, okay, but had you told yourself 2 years ago that you'd be like 2 albums in, we now have a system for making music videos. You now have producers that you have found and that you work with consistently, because 2 years ago you had nothing. Mm-hmm. You had no connections to anybody, any sort of support other than us being like, yeah, go get them. This can only get you so far. and without like a budget to do these things. And so I think being able to remind him and check in with him, because I think it's hard when you're the one doing it and you're in it, it's hard to see the progress you've made if it's not some overwhelming, like, look, now I'm Beyonce type success.
Right.
Where success looks different for everyone. And I'm very proud of him in that way, where one, I think he's extremely, extremely talented, where unbiased, like I'm not embarrassed to be like, listen to his music. It's not just because I'm dating him. Like he's actually very good. Because I'm a critical bitch.
Yeah. We're very cold.
Exactly. It's in our DNA.
When I showed him my album about him, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is so endearing and, I love you. It wasn't that. It was, here's what's wrong with it. Change this. This note is wrong. You need to tune this.
I will. Yeah. I think the cringiest moments, it's hard for me. So we had an album listening party like a month ago for this new album. And it wasn't cringy. I don't like attention at certain times. If I'm on stage, yes, give me the attention. Otherwise, I don't necessarily love the attention. And so when he's up there telling everyone, like introing the album, this album's all about Kevin. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, I need you to not. And then the album's playing, and the songs I think are incredible and are very good. And I try to not connect them to me at all. I'm like, his art is great. It's independently of me, it's great. But it makes me very uncomfortable. But our friend Nico went to an album listening party of his, and I ran into him the other day. He's like, yeah, I was just sitting in a corner crying, being like, this is so beautiful.
I love that.
That's not, that was cringy for you. What's something cringy I have done?
His first album, he's off pitch a lot.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
He didn't know the ways.
I wasn't working with the right people.
Auto-tune and Melodyne, just will bring you up to the note or bring you down to the note just a little bit.
There you go. I read the best thing today. A good friend of mine, Greg Cope White, he's a producer and a writer, and he was very good friends with Norman Lear, who just passed. He said one of the best pieces of advice that Norman gave him is that you don't learn anything from praise, right? You only learn from people who are willing to say things for you. So I think it's great to be, you don't want to be brutally honest all the time, but I think it's important to be honest, especially when you want people to improve. You love that person and you want them to do better, right?
Yeah, I think I do need to do a good job. I need to be reminded that I also need to give positive reinforcement and positive feedback. But I think my instinct to immediately start with, here are the things you need to change. If I didn't think, one, it was worth it, or that if I didn't think this was even good enough to even try to adjust, or if I didn't believe in you that much, I wouldn't give anything. I'd be like, yeah, that's really good. Like, that's great. Good job. But it's sort of because, like, oh, no, 97% of this is great. I don't need to touch it. I don't want it. Like, it's good. Let's just talk about these few minor details that I think would really, like, make it perfect.
I think he's also able to give that feedback because he knows how important it is to me, and he knows that I want it to be the best it can be, and vice versa with anything he creates and his music, his projects. I'm the exact same way. We both want to make the best possible thing, and that requires you to drop your ego.
Yeah, sugarcoating it just wastes time. I'm like, let's just tell me what you think.
Awesome. All right, like I told you before we started, I'm going to talk way too long because I love you guys. I know we've been on forever, so
long. We ramble, so.
So let's go ahead and take a quick little break. We're going to play Electric Kiss from Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with me and my listeners. So we're going to get a little sneak in here. I got to admit that you guys haven't seen this yet because you just sent me over the audio. I've added a bunch of pictures of you guys kissing over the top of it. So it's going to be, speaking of cringe, it's going to be a little fun when you guys see this eventually down the line. Guys, let's play a little bit of Austin. This is Electric Chris. You're listening to the Left of Str8 show right here on the Left of Str8 Network with my very special guests, Kevin and Austin. We'll be back on the other side. All right, thank you.
take me? What are you waiting for? Why do you keep me here? Oh, and we're dancing all through the night and out of the way. Your shoulder wipes away my tears. And I'm sorry if I push you away, but I'm always falling back onto you. 'Cause usually I wouldn't have stayed, but the technicolor lights over you. 'Cause it's you. What can I do? So maybe I'll just give it when his touch is bliss, and he's got me on his lips. Yeah, it ain't different when I'm in his electric kiss. Dancing, I took a chance and dove in your ocean, never knowing it was clear. And so you realize why I've been denying, lying, trying to fight that I'm dying, crying, losing my mind over you. So we drive from California to Arizona, never know where we're going, but I know that I'm going with you. 'Cause it's you. What can I do? So maybe I'll just give it when his touch is bliss, and he's got me on his lips. Yeah, it ain't different when I'm in his electric kiss. His electric kiss. His electric kiss. His
Alrighty, guys, we are back. That was Electric Kiss from my very special guest today. Austin P. McKenzie is here. He is, of course, the singer of that. His handsome and talented boyfriend in his own right, Kevin McHale, is here with him. Austin, congratulations. Talk about how that song came about. We were talking earlier that these are all dedicated to Kevin. Hide your head for a second, Kevin. Talk about the writing process for this song and how it came about.
I think this was the second song I wrote for the record, and I'm very, the reason why I think of things as albums and I want to release albums is because I think very conceptually. I think when I sit down to write, I want to tell a full story. I want to tell the important parts of the story, and this is the second song on the album, and it sort of jumpstarts the story. Where it was it's about the first time that we kissed. And I remember, this is gonna be so gross. I hate this.
Oh, no.
I remember when we, but you asked, so I have to,
Just slowly go out of frame here.
it's so disgusting. The first time that we kissed, I said he had the best lips ever, and
Nice.
so I wrote a song about that, and a big, like a core foundation in our relationship is dancing, and I wanted to write a song and a lot of songs on the album that would make you want to dance, because if I'm going to write an album about us, it has to reflect that. And there's a lot of lines in the song about that, about us dancing, and yeah, I think so this album, I was able to tap into something, I think, hopefully, something fun and something light and easy to listen to. And that was really my aim for this. And I wrote this one really fast, and I sort of finished it. It was like, oh, I think this is fun. I think I wrote a happy song finally.
About me.
Because it's about you. I mean,
You're saying I'm fun and easy and light.
You're easy.
I love that. Well, some of the pictures you guys sent over, it's going to be in our promo picture. We have Kevin back there dancing the night away, so I definitely see that. But that's fantastic, though. I love that kind of when you can bring those emotions out to the front in yourself and make it come across to others, and then all of a sudden bring that emotion out in them. That's the best part of being a performer, a singer, songwriter, whatever. So congratulations. That is great.
Yeah. I mean, when I finished writing that song, I sort of saw what the rest of the album was going to be. It sort of all clicked for me. I knew what style I was going to write in. I knew the genre I was going to write in. So this Electric Kiss is actually like the most important song in the album to me, just because it really just locked everything in for me. And from there, the songs just came out super easy. And I think it's our favorite song on the album. Yeah.
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 I think it does encapsulates everything.
Yeah. And we plan on doing a music video for it. So be on the lookout for that.
That's awesome. How many songs ended up being on the album total, and when is your expected release date?
9.
Things always change.
It could change. 9 songs, and I really, really believe in this album. I really believe in every single song individually. So the plan is to release the album in chronological order, 1 song every month. So it'll be 9 months of releasing songs, my little baby. And and that'll probably start in February. And it'll get a month of hard pushing on social media and marketing and whatnot.
I mean, talk about this, Kevin, especially. The music industry has changed so much, right? It used to be you had to put out an EP, you had to put out an album. Now everything's streaming where you make half a cent on every 10,000 views, and people don't even need to buy an entire EP. They'll buy the songs they want and choose from it. It's got to be very different releasing albums now. I mean, when you guys were doing the show, you guys were going #1 the first couple seasons for every song. What is the good part? What are the good changes that's happening in the music industry, and what's kind of sucking wind right
now? I think I don't know. It's sort of like a catch-22, because I think with any advent of any change within the music industry, there's always this feeling of like, oh, I miss the good old days. Remember when we used to do this or that? It's always been like that since the dawn of time. And so I think the music industry is always going to come up against something that changes and something that's hard on the artists or the songwriters. But it's just sort of how the world is. Like, it went from vinyl to 8 tracks to CDs. And all of those things were sort of like, ugh, CD, I'm not using that. Or a tape, like what? And then, when pre-Glee, I was in the music business. I had a record deal when I was 17. And that was sort of, they were all aware, like all the executives and everyone, they were like, this is probably the last year or two of us operating like this.
Wow.
And they were telling us that, like, they fully knew, and the contract started to change because it was harder to make money because albums weren't selling. I mean, I think a couple things. I think what streaming has done has opened up the music business to the world, which I think is incredible, which to give access to anybody in any part of the world to put out something. Lil Nas X put out some song on YouTube and it became the longest running #1 of all time. And I think that is invaluable. However, streaming also makes it very, very difficult for songwriters, especially, and artists to make any money off of streaming. It is extremely hard. Which also then leads to touring is great, and touring has come back bigger than ever before because that's where the artist can make the money. So I mean, I don't know. It's different. I don't know if it's any better or worse. It's just different. And I think the worst part of it for me is the having to promote yourself on social media stuff, because I saw a video on TikTok the other day. if Tom York, the lead singer of Radiohead, if that's how the business was when Radiohead was coming out, we would have never had a Radiohead. We'd have never had a lot of the artists that we had, because there's no way they were ever going to do that. And so I think it takes away from the artistry. Like, it's like, just because someone wants to make music and they're good at making music doesn't mean that they want to spend hours of every single day talking about themselves on social media. So I do think that sucks, but sort of, it is what it is.
I hear that. That's good advice. I like that. And Austin, I reached out to my listeners if anyone had any questions, and there's a couple questions for each of you. I'll start with this first one. Quentin gave one for each of you. We'll get to Kevin's in a minute. But for Austin, while your album isn't out officially, you did do a release party on your streaming platform. What was it like to have these lucky fans hear your music for the first time and get some feedback from them? How was that?
It was so good, I almost passed out. Literally.
I had to take over hosting the album listening thing because he was about to faint.
Yeah, it was so embarrassing. So much had led up to this. The entire album making process had led up to this listening party night, and I had put so much pressure on it. And we're listening to the album, with people in the room, with people streaming on Instagram, and at the very end of the album, the very last song, I turned to Kevin and I said, "I think I'm going to faint." And he said, "Go downstairs. I'll take care of it." So yeah, it was a lot of pressure I put on myself leading up to that. But ultimately, I just want people to hear the music. Obviously, I mean, that's, any artist's goal, but yeah, it was magical. It was magical. It was a relief. It felt really good.
That's awesome. Well, Quentin loved it. He said just to let you guys know, and he wanted to hear how that was for you. I'm going to do a couple rapid fire questions we finish up that I got from different people, just to kind of give quick answers to. Have you found any challenge in either industry, acting or singing, as an openly gay performer? Is it worse in acting than in music to maybe get some roles or to get picked up? Is there a quick answer to that, or is there only long answers to that?
I think music, you don't feel it as much. I don't acting. As soon as I came out publicly, I was sort of only getting to audition for gay roles all of a sudden, which it was great that they wanted gay people for gay roles, but it was also felt limiting in the sense of, well, there's a lot of straight roles as well. So there still is that, I think.
Agreed.
And Austin, I mean, with all your sign language background and everything, do you find you end up emoting more when you sing, or do you feel like you have to pull it in? Talk about how that helps you performance-wise.
I don't do it. Do I do that? When I was in college, I used to do that a lot. I was very, very emotive. People would tell me that all the time, but I don't know if I do that anymore.
You do this. His hands are like always going by his face.
Always, I'm casting spells.
Yeah. But I think it looks like it comes from that, though. Because I don't know if you did that before you knew ASL, but.
Next question for Kevin. It seems like you're very smart in your selection of choices of what you decide to do. How do you decide what you want to do when you take on a project?
Thanks to whoever asked that. I don't know if that's true. I just do whatever. It's the two things. Like, does this seem fun? And also, does it seem like a challenge? Am I scared a little bit? And then that's sort of it. I get past how is this going to look? I don't know. I was like, is this a new skill I'm going to learn? Let's try it.
Nice. All right. And for both of you, any advice you would give to any up-and-coming performers, either through music or through acting? What have you noticed in the industry now that would be a quick hint?
I always say you just have to love it and believe in yourself to the point of like almost delusion, because it's going to be mostly rejection, which is fine. So get used to that. But no one else is going to believe in you unless you do first.
Yeah.
And so if it's like, I watch Austin with his music and he loves his music so much that's the point where it doesn't matter if you have gigantic success or little success. It doesn't matter. I think that's how it should be. Like, you're doing it because it loves you, it feeds you, it completes you. And I think that's what you have to have, that level of passion to get through it, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Good advice, Austin.
You just have to want it more than anything else. You have to be willing to make the sacrifice of probably never having stability, of having to put yourself out there every single day with little return, of working shitty jobs because you have to pay your bills and you have to pay for the actual music you want to make. So you have to, if you don't, you know that you're not going to want to do it if you're not willing to put in the effort, because there's a lot of effort you have to put in.
Well said, my friend. Any upcoming projects beside the new album that you guys can tease or talk about, or just kind of playing it by ear as we get out of this strike and everything else going
on? Possibly. I don't know if there's anything I can say, because you know how things are. It's like things get talked about and then things go away just as easy as they come. So
There's
maybe
things percolating. They're percolating out there for you. I like that. And this is going to be labor of love for you for at least another 3 or 4 months, Austin. Anything else that you have? What do you see? I mean, once you have this birthed and out there, what do you see as your next project you'd like to work on?
Well, I literally said to Kevin last night at 12:30, I said, I think I just finished the last song for my next album. So I'm going to sit down tonight and listen to the whole thing. So, which I have a lot to tell you about from that, by the way. Lots of things.
He doesn't stop. He's a machine.
But I love it. I just want to write. So I'm always writing. So yeah, there's that little album to look forward to.
I will also say on Austin's behalf, right before the strike, there was a movie he was going to do that didn't end up happening because of the strike. And then he was testing for multiple shows like within the same week. And so those are things you don't see people doing, and they're stressful and they happen all the time. And like, he's so good. I think he's so good. And you don't get down to the final few repeatedly if you're not good. So I do think now that the strike is over, that
just you wait.
Yes, he should. Hopefully he'll be everywhere.
We'll see.
Well said. I love that. Brag upon your man. I like that a lot. All right, well, we want to finish up. Kevin, I got to say, I've been so fortunate to have you and Jen has been on the show 4 times. This is your 2nd time. I appreciate you both so much. And one of the things I love about you guys is how dedicated you are to your fans, to your friends you made along the way. Let's talk about Snixmas for a second. We're in our annual talk. Let everyone know who it is in case they're not familiar with it.
So Snixmas was named after a annual Christmas party Naya Rivera used to throw for the cast and crew of Glee, like the most extravagant, opulent parties that we all used to think she was getting paid a lot more than the rest of us. And after she passed, we just wanted to do something to honor her legacy. And she worked really closely with a local charity here called Alexandria House that helps women and children in need of transitional housing, education, community. They do everything. It's a really, really incredible organization. And so we decided to name a holiday fundraiser Snixmas in honor of her and her parties. And this is our 4th year doing it. Coming into this year, we had raised between $200,000 and $250,000 for Alexandria House. And that's from all over the world. I mean, to see her impact like that has been truly astounding. Like, we knew, but when you see people actually putting down money like that from all parts of the world is really meaningful. And Alexandria House is very appreciative of it. And this year we got permission to put out one of her old songs that has never been released properly, officially. There were some leaks online, but it was never, legally released. And so this time it was, and it's just, we wanted people to hear her voice again in a new song, and because she sounds incredible, and the proceeds from that are going to Alexandria House. And also, even better, or in addition to, you can also go to Alexandria House's website and donate on their Snixmas page. We're trying to raise $50,000. We're close. Thanks to you, actually. You donated $200, which was extremely, extremely generous. Thank you so much for doing that. And thanks to, if anyone's listening who has already donated, or even if you can't donate, if you tell your friends or family about it, just thank you so much. And, year after year, people show up and show out, and it's such a gift, and we're all very, very appreciative of it.
Well, I think you guys are going to blow away that 50,000. I think you're at 20 something now. You have another week to go. It's my honor to be able to do that. I wanted to donate my 200 in honor of you and Jenna and Corey and Naya, who are just love all of you guys. And I'm going to put a challenge out there right now because people aren't doing all these huge donations, right? It's $5, $10, $25 at a time.
Yeah.
So Left of Straight Radio is going to match donations, $5, $10, $25, up to $300 more. We want to make a total of $500 donation in honor of Naya and Snixmas. So go ahead and do that out there, guys. Let me know. Send me a DM. And I appreciate you guys doing this so much.
That's incredible.
Amazing work. So,
listen to how small the amount is. It all adds up. And we'll get you to mention. That's incredible. Thank you so much.
There you go. Well, I think you guys are incredible. Austin, thanks for coming on for the first time. It's so great learning your story and learning your guys' story together. Been an amazing time. Thank you both for your time today. And thanks for being on the Left of Straight show.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Thank
So
you
good
so
to see you.
much.
All right, well, Austin, you're going to have to let us know all the release details. We'll get that out later. Be sure to listen for and That's What You Really Missed podcast, of course. A couple episodes. I don't know. You guys are going to talk yourself out of a job. How have you done 3 seasons in 1 year? I don't understand.
I don't know. We need to slow down the iHeart machine. They keep pumping.
You're going to talk yourself out of a job in a year and a half. All of a sudden, it's like there's only 6 seasons ago.
I know. Yeah.
Crazy. All right, guys, check out all the links below. We're going to have a special 5 questions with Austin and Kevin next week. So be sure to look for that on Tuesday. Thanks as always for listening to Left of Straight Show. Be sure to subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. We'll see you next time, everyone. Happy holidays. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Left of Straight Show. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast distributor, and please give us a 5-star rating so more listeners can find us. You can follow us on social media, and be sure to check out our website, www.leftofstraightradio.com, for contests and other news and information. See you next week.